Hello everyone and welcome back to This Is Real Life. I'm your host Sheri and this is Joe, and we are on the family room floor because we have another, I think, really good DIY. This is a We Can Make That DIY. If you're familiar at all with the We Can Make That mixed tiles DIY, this one is so much better than that. And I am saying that exactly like,
this is so much better than that.
What are we making today? You guys are gonna die. Like, you're gonna say, screw that mixed tile bullshit. I'm doing this. It's amazing. And there's a game-changing tool. Yep, So let's get into it. So I'm sure you're like, Sheri, what the hell are we DIYing today? What is so amazing about it? Get to it. Tell us all about it. I'm getting there. At my work, I received the Pottery Barn catalog, and I love me a Pottery Barn catalog. Can I afford everything in the Pottery Barn? Hell to the no. But does this catalog bring me inspiration? Yes, it does. So I was perusing, and there I had dog-eared some pages, things I would make, and it's at the very back of the catalog. I came across what Pottery Barn is calling Insta Style. Bring your Instagram feed to life with our wood gallery frame featuring 36 openings for your favorite memories that are anything but square. And I was like, that is the coolest idea ever. Check it out. It is a ginormous frame that the mat board is cut into 4x4 squares, and they just go digga-digga-dung, digga-digga-dung, digga-digga-dung. Now, what I like that Pottery Barn did is they printed all of the Instagram photos in black and white. But you could print them in color if you want. You could print them in black and white. It doesn't matter, whatever your aesthetic is. What I liked, number one, none of us print photos anymore. We all just keep them on our phone, post them to our social media feeds, and bye-bye, they're gone. Just like with mixed tiles, I was like, I have all these really cute photos, but they're nowhere on display in my house. It might be nice if, I don't know, maybe they were on display in my house. And so this Instagram frame makes it so you can print any one of your Instagram photos, and then you can display it in a nice, concise, beautiful frame. Props to Pottery Barn. This is a great idea. I'm not gonna lie. Pottery Barn, great idea. But guess what, Pottery Barn is not a great idea. The price that you want me to pay for this Insta frame. Sit down, I'll give you a second. It's $299. Yeah, $299. $300 for a picture frame? Someone at the Pottery Barn is fucking high. No, thank you, ma'am. No, absolutely not. But to be fair, I did go on the Pottery Barn website, and the frame is on sale right now for $239. I wonder why. Were you kind of realizing that no one was putting a $300 picture frame in their cart? Let's get some deets. The frame is crafted of solid poplar wood with a masonite backing, plexiglass front, so it's not even a glass front, it's a plexiglass front, designed for horizontal or vertical display. Well, duh, it's a square. Now it says the overall dimensions are 38.25 inches. It holds 36 4x4 photos. For that price, I know for 100% certain we can make that for way cheaper. When thinking about how to remake this for way cheaper, the biggest hurdle I was thinking of in my head was that mat board. The mat board is what makes it. They've got a mat board that is cut into these perfect 4x4 squares. There's an inch in between each of the cut squares. That's what gives it that really classy, high-end look. Could you just print out a bunch of 4x4 photos and tape them onto a poster board and then put them in the frame? Yeah, you probably could. But if we want to try to recreate this very professional looking framed, matted piece, we gotta actually know how to cut mat board. And that is what I thought was going to be the biggest hurdle, until I thought to myself, there's gotta be a tool. I mean, there's just gotta be, because how does the framing department do it at the Michaels? They have to have a tool, and here it is. It's not that, it's kind of expensive, but Michaels, use a coupon that's like 20%, 50% off of one item, entire purchase, what have you. The regular price of this is $32 at the Michaels. I will try to find this exact one or something very similar on the Amazon, and if I do, I will link it in the description box below, because this tool is our game changer. We are going to become professional framers, and we're gonna be able to say, no, thank you, Michaels. I don't need your custom framing because I can do it myself. No, Pottery Barn, I am not going to spend $2.99, $2.39 on your frame because I'm a professional and I can cut that mat board myself. Have I ever used this mat board cutting tool before? Nope. Are we gonna figure out how to use it today? Yes, we are. It's gonna be easy. It's gonna be amazing. I'm actually not even worried about it. I mean, what could go wrong? A lot, but really probably nothing, because we're amazing and everything we do is money. Whatevs, we're gonna do this. We're gonna recreate this. It's gonna take us a little bit of time. Boom, done. So aside from our amazing push style mat cutter tool, I got some mat board, and I got this at the Michaels as well. The mat board that they had out for purchase was this mat board here. It's 24 by 36. This mat board at the Michaels is $7.99. I was like, okay, well, I'll have to find a frame that's 24 by 24, which isn't as big as the Pottery Barn frame, which is 38 by 38. But whatever, ours won't be as big. It'll still be great. So right next door to my Michaels is the Goodwill. So I went into the Goodwill and I found this ginormous frame. I know, it's heavy because this is glass. It actually has artwork in it, which is pretty cool artwork. And the price said $39.99. Out loud in the Goodwill, I said, $39.99 for this frame? This is the Goodwill. And there was a lady in aisle next to me, and she goes, that's why that frame's been here forever. It's never gonna sell at that price. And I said, hell no, it's not, considering the Michaels is right next door, and I can buy a brand new frame using a 50% off coupon for probably 40, 50 bucks. You know, she was talking about the prices of dresses, and I was like, yeah, look at that piece of furniture right there, like seriously. So anyways, we were commiserating in our disgust for the prices at the Goodwill when a Goodwill employee walked up and said, did you have a question regarding the frames? And I said, well, not really, because this frame's way too expensive and I'm not buying it, but I was curious to know how big it is. It's $40. And she said, nothing in this store is $40. That is not correct. And so she peeled it off. She got me a new price, which is still kind of expensive, but I guess if you're considering like this is actually an artwork piece, I got it for $24.99. So when I took this out to the car, I was guesstimating that it was like around 30 inches, but now I have the dilemma of I have a frame that is bigger than my mat board. So while still in the parking lot of the Michaels, I called the Michaels and said, hey, will your custom framing department just cut me a custom piece of mat board? I just need a big white square. And she said, yeah, we will. And so now I have this giant piece of mat board, which cost me $16. But I did use my 20% coupon on my mat boards and my tools. Also, while I was at the Goodwill, I found these square frames. And I thought, since my giant square frame is a little smaller than the Pottery Barn frame, and I have an extra piece of mat board because I didn't bother to return it, I figured we can make two smaller ones, and then we could do like a gallery wall of like a big one and then like two little ones. Now these two little ones, the price was right, $2.79. Now, you may be in your head going, you're rattling off a lot of prices, Sheri. You're like, you're high. Yes, I am at about $60 right now in materials. But that's just me personally. You do not have to spend $25 on a frame from the Goodwill. You may find a frame that's $10. You also don't have to purchase two additional frames. The main purchase for you, what we're gonna be out on, the $32 for the game-changing tool. If we don't have this tool, this whole project is gonna go to shit. 32 is a far, far cry from $2.99. And if we use a mat board that's $8, that's $40, and that's still a far, far cry from $2.99. Now that my intro has lasted 8,000 years, we can finally get to this project. So what I wanna do, and John already has lectured me, he said, do not go off of our normal motto, measure once, cut twice. He said, for this project, please measure twice and cut once. So I am going to try to stand by that. What I'm gonna do is I'm basically just gonna take this out of here and then cut my white mat board to size based on this black piece here. And then we can measure out our 4x4 squares, how many we can get across and how many we can get down. And then we'll really do the math measuring. I'm not happy about it, but we have to do it. So yeah, let me cut my mat board. So that's fairly easy. I just used the mat that came out of my frame. On the back side of my newly purchased mat board, I drew my lines, and then I just used my little rubber cutting mat. I used an X-acto knife from the Dollar Tree. Firm pressure on your ruler and a couple light strokes, and you'll cut right through your mat board. And now it is time to actually make our squares, our 4x4 squares. But first, we gotta read about this tool. I have no idea how it works. I am going to use a scrap piece of my mat board to test it. Now, could I forego this tool and just cut 4x4 squares out with an X-acto knife? I could, but that gives us a very straight cut. And what this mat board cutting tool is going to do is going to give us that bevel. Like on these mats right here, on a mat board, the cut is like at a ramp. So it gives us that beveled edge that makes it look so high end and so professionally framed. That's what this tool is going to do for us that an X-acto knife could not. Let's figure out how to use this damn tool. So here she is. There's really not a lot of instruction on the back of the card. It just says 1, mark back of mat. 2, use against any straight edge. 3, push cutter along straight edge. 4, complete mat. Well, thank you, Logan. That was great. It does say detailed instructions on the inside. This does come with 5 blades, so that's good. Here we have the tool, what appear to be our blades, and then our detailed instructions. They only show 6 steps on the instructions, so it can't be that hard. Marking the mat. Determine the border size needed for your mat. Mark back of mat. That's interesting because I thought you would have to do it on the front to get that bevel the right way. Align the Logan rail or a straight edge. I don't have a Logan rail, so I will use a straight edge, and I brought another one just in case. Along the outside of the line. Helpful tip, tape sandpaper to the underside of the straight edge to eliminate slipping. I'll just hold it. It says place cutter against straight edge and line up. Start and stop indicator will lower. What the shit does that mean? Oh, I refer to the figure 2. On the back of this, see that little line right there? That's our stop and start line. So basically that's where the blade is, and that's where you're gonna start to cut your mat and where you're gonna stop. Keep against the straight edge. Stop when the start and stop indicator reaches the upper border line. Is there a blade in here already? There is not. First, we gotta get a blade in there. How, pray tell, do we do that? It doesn't say. Maybe it's just easy enough and we can just figure it out. So I'm unscrewing this black thing because it's the only logical thing to do. They're literally just like straight razor blades. There's nowhere to put it in this way. I'm thoroughly confused. All right, let me try to figure this out. It's so beyond easy that you don't think this is what you're supposed to do. So there is a little nubbin on the top of this black thing that you take off. And there is a divot in this black thing that perfectly fits the blade. You put the blade in like so, and then you screw this little thing back onto the blade. That's the blade peeking out. That's my cutter. First, determine our mat. So let's pretend this is it, and let's test one. This might not be big enough to do before. We'll do 3x3 on this test strip. So we're calling this the back. All right, so you put your straight edge on the outside of the line. So this is the outside. You line up your start and stop line on the machine or on the tool with your stop and start line here. Press down and cut. Nope. What the? Oh, wait a minute. I was basically trying to use it backwards. We'll get used to it. Don't worry, hold on. I'm gonna start this way. Now just be careful you don't cut your fingers off. And then you're gonna go like this. And then you gotta watch that line as you're coming down the road and stop. Lift this up to release. Okay, how is it beveling it? Oh, it's beveling it. Okay, I think we got it. Okay, I'm getting excited. See, it just takes a minute. It just takes a minute. I guess I probably should have read, because I am cutting left-handed right now. I can push maybe they want you to push it so you don't cut your fingers off. Let's try it. So then you push it. Oop, I jiggled and stop. Okay, pushing. Pushing is what they want you to do. I went way out of whack on that one. My ruler moved all over the place. Okay, this might take a little more practice than we thought. And we I still moved the ruler. I still felt myself. Oh, and that time I just went right past my stop line. Let's try this ruler and see if that makes a difference. Go slow. Let's see. That was a little better. Now let's pop it out. Let's look at our bevel. Ooh. Oh my gosh. Okay, the bevel is amazing. Profesh. Minus that it's not a great square. I way overextended my cut right here, and that this one is totally not straight. That bevel is nice. I think I gotta practice it a couple more times. But that's interesting. That's nice that they're letting you draw and cut from the back side so you don't mar your front side. So let me practice a little bit more and get like the right method or technique. I'll tell you what that is when I figure it out. So it took me quite a few more tries than I'd care to admit. And don't laugh at me, but my ruler is now covered in sandpaper because they were right and it really does help. I took a glue stick and some sandpaper and I ripped it up. Huge help. So don't laugh at that. It helps. They really do want you to push it. I kept looking at the directions like, how are they doing it? I tried pulling, and while I thought that was working well, it really wasn't working well because you're covering up your stopper starter line. So you do need to push so you can see that line. And what I discovered, if you think you have the blade all the way into your mat, you don't. If you push it down and you feel like it's in and then you let go and it pops back up, it's not in. So you really need to like push that blade down and it should stay stuck in there. Like I don't even have to hold it. That's when you know it's in. The other thing I learned is that if you put your stopper starter line exactly where you want it to start, when you push the blade in, the tool shifts downward. If you rest your tool just above your starter line, when you push your blade down, it makes it actually stick in exactly where you want it to start. So the key is get that blade all the way fucking in there and then make sure your ruler does not move, and sandpaper helps. Take your time, press firmly, more of like a this press than a this press. You definitely need to practice on a scrap piece of mat board. Oh, here's my second attempt. This is when I thought I had the blade all the way pressed down, but I did not. Third attempt was all jig-jaggedy because my straight edge kept moving, and then I said, I'll go get sandpaper. And then I did this one here, which is the best one. Just practice 800 times until you feel comfortable. You want your ruler with sandpaper in your left hand. If you're right-handed, and you do want to put it just outside your line because you want your blade to be cutting exactly on your line. You want to put your stop-start line just a hair above where you actually want to start, because don't forget, when you push that blade in, it's gonna kick it back a little bit. Push that blade all the way in, all the way, holding your ruler still tight. Even though that sandpaper is on there, you still gotta hold it down. You can start to slowly and gently glide the tool across your mat right up against your straight edge. So I'm at my stop line, I stop, and see the blade is still stuck in there. You physically have to go and get it out. I still moved a little bit, and I'm gonna be real honest with you. My presser thumb is starting to hurt. There's gotta be an easier way to hold that ruler down. This one takes practice, guys, but it's gonna be worth it. I promise you, don't give up. I'm really telling myself that because right now, all alone, I was like, this is hard, but it's not gonna be hard. We're gonna figure it out and it's gonna be totally easy. Oh my goodness. Okay, any of you professional mat cutters out there? Props, dude. This is not an easy job. I'm assuming it will get easier because we have like 36 squares to cut, but getting used to it, be prepared for a learning curve. I just cut this one and it's pretty damn near perfect. I am happy with that. However, how many did I cut? 3, 4, 5, that's 6. Yeah, my thumb hurts. we might have to take a lot of breaks when we're cutting. So one of those breaks is gonna happen now. Now that we feel okay, confident about our mat cutting skills, we actually have to measure our actual mat and figure out where these squares are going to go. Here's our actual mat. I wanna measure this. We're gonna call it, of course, 27.5 by 27.5. So now we have to figure out how many 4-inch squares we can get from a 27.5-inch board. So we want 4-inch squares, but we want a good inch in between those squares. I kind of want to just say like 27.5 divided by 4 equals. That's 6.87 squares. So now let's do this. I know, mathematicians out there, you're shaking right now, but let me work through the process. Is it 3.5 divided by 6? 3.5, is that a half an inch in between? It's a little more than, oh man. How do we figure this out? I'm picturing John's gonna be putting like E equals MC squared and a brain exploding. Let's say we want an inch here. Okay, so can I do 1.25 and 1.25? That's minus 2.5. Hold on, it's all coming to me. Let's just kind of map it out. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4, and then this one should be 1.5. Sometimes you gotta draw it out, long version. 1.75. Please be 27.5 equals. Yes! Okay, so our outer edge border, 1.75 all around, and then we will be able to have 5 4-inch squares across and 5 4-inch squares down with a 1-inch gap in between each square. Whoosh! All right, let's draw that out. We're gonna be able to get 25 squares, so we're getting quite a bit less than the Pottery barn. They got 36 squares out of their frame, but that's okay. I bought 2 extra frames, so I don't know, by the end of this one, I might be like, screw those 2 extra frames. I'm not cutting any more squares of mat. But anyways, moving on. 1.75, boom, come over 1, 4, 1, and then we come over 4. I gotta basically make a giant grid. This might take 8,000 years. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, the struggle to get to this point was real and took me forever. You could be looking at this board, I don't know if you could tell, but you're probably thinking, Sheri, there are a lot of damn lines on that board. You are absolutely 100% correct. My first lines, I went in with a normal pencil. I went and remeasured everything and used colored pencil. I did the best I could with making my horizontal and vertical lines as straight and as lined up as possible per my measurements. Then I took a red pen and I went into each individual square and squared it up per the square below it. Then I went and got my ginormous level and lined up all of my red square lines to make sure that every single gap was perfectly the same all the way through, and took a blue Sharpie and made blue squares. Looking at it with the blue lines, and you can kind of like not see the pencil marks so much, I feel like I am even in between each square. All my squares are square and I'm ready to cut. I really went way over and above, and I did not only measure twice so that I could cut once. I measured probably 6 times, squared up about 2 times, and then lined up about 2 more times. If it's not perfect at this point, there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, I spent a lot of time on it, so it better be perfect. So now we have to cut. And now I'm nervous because I feel like I spent so much time on making this grid be as perfect as it could possibly be. Now it's just gonna take one cut fuck up to fuck up the whole thing. So there's like a giant part of me that just wants to like print out 4x4 squares and tape them onto this. I'm not gonna lie. But I'm sure once I get started cutting, everything will be fine. So now there's this. All I can do is go for it. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with this bottom square and then go to this one so I can keep my ruler lined up, and then go to this one. Boom, 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 boom. And then I can start with this one and then cut this one and 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 this one, and then go here because then I'll have these 2 and these 2 to line this one up with. Boom, 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 and here, boom, boom. And I'm hoping that keeps me extra, extra super square. It sounds right in our heads, doesn't it? I just flipped it over, screwed this in, so now I'm on a fresh, clean side of the blade, and we're gonna make our first cut. Cross your fingers. Okay, so I could be here until midnight doing this, but in the end, I think it's gonna be amazing. Now I know ours isn't as large. We're holding, let's just call it 10 shy, but that's okay by me. 10 less photos for $100 and some odd worth of savings, I think it's okay. Plus I have these other 2 frames that I could add to if I don't wanna shoot myself in the face after I get done with this one. I know what you're saying right now because I'm saying it too. Sheri, get to fucking cutting, dude. I'm prolonging it, but let's get started. So what I'm gonna try to do is keep my straight edge lined up with the square above it. Just do it. Okay. I'm only cutting 1 square at a time, but I'm lining my straight edge up with 2 squares just to ensure that I am straight. Oh gosh, I'm so nervous to do this, you guys. I'm not even gonna lie. We have to push, make sure our blade's in. We have to make sure our straight edge never moves. We have to go slow so we don't overcut. All those things are easy. We can do this. Blade is in. Okay, here we go. Nice and easy. Watching my ruler to make sure it doesn't slide. Going slow. Done. There is a giant part of me because my ruler's already lined up with square number 2 that I just cut that line for square number 2 too. No, I gotta go with my original plan. No, we're gonna leave, we're gonna do it. We're changing course. Firm pressure, keep going. Done. Now we just gotta hope and pray that we cut all the way through this damn mat board. Just gonna kneel right on my board. Press that sucker down. I feel good about this one. Boom. The one I just did for sure went all the way through. I don't know if you can see that. This first one did not. Okay, but those 2 cuts were amazing. I'll see you in about 8 million hours. Go get like some popcorn and a soda and go to the bathroom, and then maybe when you come back, I'll have 1 square done. Okay guys, here it is, and it's pretty damn perfect. Now I'm not nervous about it. I know exactly what I need to do. So this is obviously the front side because you don't see any of my grid lines. The bevel, perfect. There, 1 square. How do you think it would look if we just put 1 4x4 photo in and left this all white? Just saying, it's just an idea. It's just the creative process. So yeah, I'll check in and let you know how it's going. Yeah, this is it. This is the entire DIY. Finish cutting your fucking squares. But I will say, once you get used to this little tool here, it's pretty cool. Okay guys, here is where we are after about an hour and a half. Is it time consuming? Why yes, yes it is. But seriously, it's amazing and it looks totally professional. I am going very slow. I am making sure to line up all my lines. I don't want anything out of whack, anything unsquare. And while it is taking a little extra time, I think it is imperfect. These are how many more squares I have to cut out still. However, I will say it is getting easier. I'm getting way more comfortable with it. With each square that I do, I'm going a little quicker. Yeah, I think it is gonna look so amazing. Now I just have to pick out all my Instagram pictures, and I'm thinking I'm gonna do black and white too. I think that's kind of cool. I'm totally gonna copy Pottery Barn, and then they're gonna be jealous because I spent 60 bucks and they're charging $2.99. So it's hell's a late. So I might put a pause on it for tonight, but probably the next time you might see it is when I have all my squares cut. And then we'll put the photos in, and then we'll frame it, we'll hang it, and we'll love it. This tool, not gonna lie, it was hard to get used to at first, but I'm super glad I spent the $32 minus 20% because otherwise I wouldn't have gotten this totally profesh beveled edge matte cut. It's perfect. Dun, 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 dun. It is the next day and I have officially cut all of my 4x4 squares into my mat board. It looks completely professional. That measuring, and I also was able to fit 4 of the 4x4 squares in those smaller frames. So I've cut those out as well. We are ready to go. I will tell you, our tool, while it is a game changer, it hurts your thumb. pressing and holding and then moving, my thumb was getting a little sore. I had to take some breaks. Also too, change out your blade often. When you have a new sharp blade, it is 10 times easier. As I started getting the hang of it more and more, I was feeling more confident. I was able to go a little bit faster, but still a little bit slow. And I think taking the extra time was worth it because this looks so amazing. And now all we have to do is select all of our photos, print them out, and put them in. So you may be asking yourself, how the hell do I get all my Instagram photos onto my computer so that I can print them out? And then once I have them on my computer, how the hell do I print them out 4x4? Don't worry, I got you, boo. Let's go over that right now. With Instagram, it is a little bit harder. Facebook makes it really, really easy to get your photos off Facebook and then just save them on the desktop of your computer. Instagram, you would have to go on your computer, not on your phone, bring up that photo, and then you would basically need to take a screenshot of that photo and then go into Word and adjust that screenshot from there. I mean, it's not hard, it's just a lot of steps. But if you're like most people, you've got your Facebook and your Instagram linked together. So when you post to one, you're posting to the other. So whatever's on your Instagram is on your Facebook, and whatever's on your Facebook is on your Instagram. So you might as well just go to Facebook and make it easier on yourself. So once you have your Facebook page open, you're gonna want to go to your photos. Select the photos that you want to use in your frame. So I'm gonna select this photo here. And all I have to do to get it onto my computer is right click and hit Save Image As. I mean, you can select wherever you want to save it, but I just prefer desktop because it's easier. Once all of your photos that you've gone through are saved, you're gonna close out of Facebook and open up Word. I am teaching you this on a PC. If you're a Mac user, sorry about it, but I don't know Macs. But I'm sure you can kind of like figure it out once you're on your Mac. It might be a little different here and there, but for the most part, this is what you're gonna do. I do know Mac doesn't have Word because that's a Microsoft product, but I'm sure there's something like Word comparable for a Mac. So yeah, open Word or something comparable. So now that you have Word open, your first step is going to be to place a text box into your Word document. You're gonna wanna click up at the top tab that says Insert. Once you have Insert clicked, you're gonna go over to Text Box. I don't know what version of Word I have. It's probably hella old. Whatever version of Word you have, find yourself Insert and then find yourself Text Box. I just pick Simple Text Box. Once you have that inserted into your Word document, you're gonna wanna change the size of your text box so that every single photo you plug in here is gonna be the same size. Our little holes in our mat board are exactly 4 inches by 4 inches, but I want my photo to be a little larger than that, so I have room to tape the photo onto the back of the mat board, to center it. So for me, I'm gonna make my text box 4.25 by 4.25. Boom. Now that you have that done, you wanna make sure your text box does not have any margins in it, because if it has margins, you're gonna have a white border around your photo. We don't want that. We want our photo to go edge to edge, 4.25 by 4.25. If you don't have format shape open in your Word doc, you're gonna wanna go to format shape by like right clicking on your text box and opening up format shape. I think it says layout and properties. So you'll wanna click on that. You're gonna see that there are your margin measurements. You wanna put those all the way to 0, 0. Top, bottom, right, left, all those margins go to 0. And now your text box is ready to receive your photo. So the next part's pretty easy. All you're gonna do is click in your text box, and then you're gonna go back up to Insert, and then you're gonna click on Picture. And of course, it is from this device. So it's gonna browse out to your computer to wherever you save that photo. So I'm gonna click on that, hit Insert, and voila. There it is, 4.25 by 4.25. You are going to be able to fit 2 4.25 by 4.25 images on one sheet. For me, 2, that's 18 sheets of paper. I am just putting color photos in. If you want to print out color photos and you have enough ink in your color printer, go for it. For me, I want to print in black and white. So I'm going to make sure that when I'm getting ready to print, I am going to go up to File, Print, and I'm gonna go to my printer properties. I think I have to go to Advanced. High quality grayscale. Your printer might say black and white, whatever, or you may want to print them in color. It's completely up to you. Now you know how to set up your photos. If you set up your photos stacked right on top of each other on one piece of paper, you'll be able to make very easy cuts. I've already done that, so let's check it out. We have our photos printed and they're ready to be cut out. Now, I am a lucky, lucky girl because I have a giant paper cutter. If you don't have a paper cutter, no big deal. These don't need to be perfect because we are putting our mat board on top. We made our photos a little bit larger, so you can use scissors, not a big deal. Remember I said if you butt your photos right up against each other, you only have to make one cut right in between. And because I have a paper cutter, I'm able to do like 4 at a time. So, and then I'll go and line up the center in half. Now we have our 4.25 by 4.25 picture ready to go. I just printed these on plain old white copy paper. You could print these on like a photo paper. If you don't have a printer at home, you can always save your document onto a jump drive and take it on over to the Kinko's. Or if you have a job that has a printer at your desk, print them at your desk. I won't tell anybody. So we just need to finish cutting these out and then we can put them in our mat board and we can put that in our frame and then we can hang our frame on our wall and we'll be done. All of our photos are cut and now it's just a matter of personal preference and rearranging them how we want them to look in our mat board. Look at all those grids. I'm going to take one photo, place it where it needs to be and tape that right on, just on the top. So I'm just gonna tape, and because we did our photo a little bit larger than our square, that's what it's gonna look like. It's so cute. So the next time you see this, they will be hung and looking amazing, just like the one we saw for $299 at the Pottery Barn. I'm super excited because it's real now. This looks so amazing. Seriously, if you thought the mixed tiles was good, you just wait. You guys are gonna fucking die. I am not even joking. I have all the pictures in and I have them hung on the wall. It's kind of amazing. Are you ready? Because here comes the final reveal. Dun, 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 dun. Oh my gosh. Seriously, dude. We've got all 3 frames hanging and look at how amazing. Come on already. I mean, seriously, amazing. Really? Are we all serious right now? This looks so good. Where's my, hold please. So this looks just as good, if not better, than this. And this is about, I want to say a quarter of the price, but I think it's even less than a quarter of a price of this regular retail price. Seriously, $73 for 3 frames holding 33 photos. Of course, our main initial upfront cost is our mat cutting tool. It's not cheap, but I am gonna try to find one on the Amazon for less, and I'll link it in the description below if I do find one. The mat cutting tool makes it look so professional. If you don't plan on matting a bunch of framed shit, $32 might seem like a waste of money. You could get away with just using a very sharp x-acto, but you wouldn't have the bevel that a normal mat has. And to be quite honest, unless you're right up on it, a white on white mat board, you can barely see the bevel. So, I mean, play around with an x-acto knife and see how you like it. It might work just fine, and then you could save yourself $32. Even at $75 for 3 frames, and we all know I kind of paid a pretty penny for the giant frame. A normal human wouldn't have paid $25 for a frame from the Goodwill, but I just loved it. I could have recycled other frames entirely from my garage and did like a whole gallery wall in many different size frames using that one mat board too. So I think there are ways to get your costs down even less. Pottery Barn, they wanted $2.99. It's currently on sale, $2.39 online, and we spent tops $75. This is just another one of those, we can make that DIY Wednesdays that pretty much solidifies the fact that we can make anything that we put our mind to. And there's no reason to spend $299 on something that you can basically make from shit that you found at the Goodwill and a couple things from the Michaels. We just made an amazing gallery wall that people are going to come in and think, that gallery wall right there must be $500. But anyways, point of the story is, it's not hard. When you break it all down into its individual parts and pieces, it's pretty easy. And big, big, big bang for little dollars. I love this. Mixed tiles, be damned. This is so chic. I love it. Like, there's part of me that wants to take those mixed tiles down now. I mean, I still like them, but not as much as this gallery wall. That's all I'm saying. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. Be sure to ring that notification bell so you are alerted to all of the DIY Wednesday videos I push out, which is every other Wednesday at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you share this video with your family and friends, because they're not gonna believe that this shit cost us like $75. And as always, thanks for hanging out.